Hi everybody, Jay from Simple Woods Life. This is a real quick video to let you know what's going on with the project. Throwing a little update at you because I'm sort of between projects at the moment. So for those of you who know, you know. For those of you who are new, this is our garden. This first little raised garden is jack-o'-lantern pumpkins, and they're doing great. They've been planted just for what? Almost 2 weeks. They're doing fantastic. We got our squash and our squash trellis behind it. They're doing okay. We're letting nature take its course. I'm trusting in it. Over here is our big hugelkultur garden. It's all sort of, it's a pit of logs and trunks and everything covered in soil, and the theory there is it just sort of rots and adds nutrients to the soil, which helps the plants. And in there we've got our peas, we've got our romaine, we've got our salad bowl lettuce, whatever the hell that is. We've got beans, we've got cucumbers, tomatoes, strawberries, jalapenos, and green and red bell peppers. And then on the other side of that, on our other raised garden, we've got Yukon Gold and red Pontiac potatoes, and peaches and cream corn. And that's all coming up lovely. Lovely, lovely, lovely. If you're anything like me, you don't like wasting lumber. So when you get onto projects and stuff, you always seem to accumulate these piles of 3-foot, 4-foot lumber, 2x and stuff. Got all these scraps, which is, you know, in theory, just a lovely idea, but now I find myself about to move Big Poppa, our sea nymph tinner, in there to finish up. We'll really get started on making that into a fun fishing boat, which was going to be this video. But as I'm getting everything ready in there, I got to move the quads and tractor over to the other side of the garage, which is all filled with wood, and it's filled with trim, and it's filled with a project for just some inside trim I got to do that I've got to stain first. But, like, you know, that's sitting on sawhorses. So I'm like, damn, always seems like you've got to do 2 projects in order to get going on the project you want to do. But I'm sitting there scratching my head saying, okay, I can make it work, I can back Big Poppa in here. But I'm looking at all this lumber and I'm thinking, I bet you in a good weekend and then the remnants of after dinner, maybe the odd lunch hour, maybe getting up early, I could throw up an 8x10 garden shed, potting shed. And we don't have tons of stuff, right? We've got a few shovels, few rakes, we've got you know, some stuff like that. I'm gonna get rid of Art Drysdale's garden claw, because that thing has just nearly killed me 1,000 times and I don't use it. And then, you know, when we were doing some of our seeds this year, they're taking over the lodge when we were doing some of our seeds, and we ended up buying a lot of plants from the garden centers and the nurseries because we didn't grow them from seed. And like, growing them from seed, I don't have to tell you, is financially more responsible than growing them, and rewarding too. Rewarding. It's good. It's good for the heart. Feels good. Feels good. But all of that aside, we're like, okay, so we need a place to store our tools, get them out of the way, a place that we can work on our plants and stuff, because when Miss Lady does all the pots around here of these gorgeous flowers, she does like these spikes and these little trailing things, and I don't know what they're called, begonias, or they're the ones my grandma used to have. Nana had them in her garden, so you know the ones. But we've got like a bunch of those around the property, and she's bent over and doing it all, you know, on the garage floor, and at the end of it, her back was killing her. So I'm like, you know what, why don't we, if we get something garden height, we have a table to do that, we have a workbench, maybe some shelves that we can put our seedlings on and let them do their thing. We're facing just about south, a little more southwest, but we're gonna get lots and lots of that good sun, and I'd use up the lumber. And if I could do that pretty quick, we'd have a cool little structure in the corner of the yard that would serve a big purpose. We could put some boxes up the side of it, similar to those herb boxes that I built, but I could do them longer, and we could permanently plant our strawberries and stuff in there, right? So I'm like, whoa, that sounds pretty good. And I was driving by, I was in town about a week ago. I was driving by the lumber center, and they had this god-awful looking thing out front, and I'm like, I like the color on an old Chevy, but I didn't like the color just in the yard. But hit the brakes, tore in there, and this is what sparked all this for me. I'm like, okay, I get where they were going on it. They did a piss poor job. It looks like crap. So took a few sneaky photos, did a little bit of something like, you know, something like, oh, covert, covert, like, right, like I got right in there, you know, and then they couldn't see me coming, right, like, not for nothing, but that feels a little crazy, no? It's just, it's OSB. Zoinks. Look at this. We can do better than this. And I might skip the shutters, I believe they're called. So essentially what I did was, as an artist, I don't steal, I get inspired. I've been tooling around, drawing up a few plans. I have a general idea of the dimensions. I broke it down to what I'm going to need for the foundation, the skids, the deck, or the floor, front wall, back wall. I've got like a bag and a half of shingles in here, so I might have to buy one more bag. I've got all the lumber for the knee wall and a good chunk for like trim. You know, I've got a couple of pieces of 2x8 spruce in here already, so I'm just trying to figure out how much lumber I need, how much lumber I've got, run that through Excel, do the old mathematicals there, and see if it's fiscally responsible for me to do that. And if it is, I'm going to build it and it's going to be wicked. Wicked. If it's not fiscally responsible, then we will put Big Poppa in there. And I got to go back to the lumber store tomorrow and take a couple more measurements. So I should know by tomorrow night what I'm doing. But yeah, the plans are kind of what the plans are to do this thing. And I've got everything for the boat, right? Like I'm talking the lumber's in it, because I bought all that just before the pandemic. I've got the wires, I've got the little accessories, I got the freaking carpet and glue. Like I got it all, bro. So that's going to be an awful painful, and this possibly is me just trying to stall, because I feel like I'm so in over my head trying to figure out this boat. But as I was telling my sister-in-law about all the plans, she was like, you know, you could have just put the boat in the water, right? But now I got a half a skeletal system in there of wood, so I'm hoping that's maybe a weekend to finish up the roughness, and then hopefully a day to do all the wiring. Does that sound right? I don't know. I've been back and forth to Napa so many times. This is where my wife would say,
well, if you're tired, you take a Napa. You don't move to Napa.
Every time I go to Napa, this lady has to say that. Like, come on, man. Friggin' Carrie. This lady's not even a Carrie. That's where we're at. So that, coupled with that cold we had earlier in June, I had it brutal. Schnozzler all clogged, coughing, hacking, sick as a dog. It went from like me feeling 0 out of 10 to me feeling like 5, 6 out of 10. And then Miss Lady got it, and she's been coughing and hacking in the whole 9 yards. Then the youngest got it, only for a couple days, and that was over with, which was nice. And everybody was pretty okay. Nobody was 10 out of 10, but everyone was like a solid 7, 7.5 maybe. And then one night after dinner, I was like, "Blah, blah," and I was down to a 2 again. And then the rain, and then just some nagging client stuff. Like the week, just friggin' gone. So I didn't want to leave you guys hanging. This is where I'm at. This is sort of the thinking, is trying to finish getting all this stuff figured out. And you know, sometimes that's a big part of it. And seeing, am I going to be building this, I don't know what to call it, potting shed greenhouse, or are we going to be working on Big Poppa and getting that ready for the water? And then, oh my God, I've got a screen porch under a deck that I want to build. So that's another thing I'm staring at, which will house the pool pump. So, and Canada Day is coming at us fast. Last Canada Day I barbecued some ribs up, but I had like 3 projects going on too. So I want to make sure this summer we spend a bit of time at the cottage, because we live in a cottage, but yet never seem to like put our feet up and just go to the cottage for a week. I want to do that. I want to get on the water as much as possible, but I also want to get everything in its place and a place for everything, which is where the garden shed / greenhouse would come into play. And you know, it would save us a ton of money next spring just in terms of buying plants alone. Holy crap. Nice place for storage, not worried about you know, stepping over tools and all that crap in the garage, and a proper workbench so nobody's throwing their backs out, a place to store all the pots and all the hoses and everything in the winter that isn't, again, in the garage, tripping on it when you're trying to get to the truck at 5 a.m. So it makes sense, justifiably makes sense, just want to make sure it makes sense in my pocketbook, because I'm a 97-year-old woman who says pocketbook. Just want to make sure it makes sense in the wallet. So that's where we're at. Yeah. That's kind of where we're at. We're trying to figure it all out. Maybe we'll go take a look at Big Poppa real quick. Crying out loud. All right, Shelter Logic, that's not how you intended me to do it, but it's how it's getting done. Sugar Shack. I thought this is Big John, or sorry, this is Big Poppa. Big Poppa, Lil John. Oh yeah! I've done a little bit to Big Poppa already. I've replaced the coupling on the trailer, new strap, new rubbery wheelie bits, not sure the name of them, new uppery lowery arm, put on got a spare tire for it and put on a proper bracket, painted it, which looks like it's handling up, new chains, got to rewire it because after I was done painting it the wiring was shot, so I bought a wiring kit, haven't done it. And then I've got Lil John on top, which will be another video, actually be another couple of videos, because one, we're going to do a quick wiring up to that. It's got to be a lot more portable, because Lil John at the moment doesn't have a trailer. So it's a lot of hand lifting and maneuvering around. Maybe I'll get a little trailer for it, but I think the most I do on that is just light racks at the front. And I've got a temporary, temporary, I guess you'd call it, your running lights, you know, your red, your green, and your white, battery operated, they clamp on. But and then the duck blind, which again have all the parts for, just completely lost track of time last fall. So I'm gonna do that project this summer. So this is a project, right? I thought we could get into it and see it a bit better, but I've got it taped down pretty good. Pretty good. So we're not really getting in there. Since we're just killing a little bit of time here, and we don't have a project, kind of take you on a project. Have I told you about this little bridge? This little bridge I made? The bridge to where? I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Well, I know it goes to the woodlot eventually. A little path down through the meadow, and from there through the forest, and from there to the river, and from there beyond. But we've got like a moat running around our property, which is where you can see all the wild flowers and everything are growing, right? So it's particularly bad, obviously, in the spring with the spring runoff and whatnot. So quadding through it, driving the tractor through it, just walking through it, mucking it up, it was a frickin' eyesore. And we were ruining the sort of natural curvature of the land there that led, you know, because we're on a sort of a hill, you'd have the water trail down and come around and then back into the woods. And you know, your uncle's name is Robert. So I don't know anything about building bridges. I don't know a damn thing. Did that let me stop me? No, I didn't have the good sense to stop myself. So Miss Lady was off. I think she was on a business trip in Switzerland, hiking the Google mountains of some sort. And I'm over here drafting up the roughest plans ever, going to the Home Depot at 6 o'clock in the morning with a cup of coffee in my hand and my puppy dog, and we're loading up the truck with 2x12s, and oh, it was stupid. But yeah, we did the braces out in the garage, kind of tried to figure it out on level ground, which seemed to be sort of a mistake, because when I brought it out here, obviously the ground's not level, so adjusted, put in, you know, some limestone screenings and some gravel for the corners, and put those sides in, kind of bracketed them in, and then I knew I wanted the quad and the lawn tractor and God knows what else on top of it, so I like just kept throwing supports in until I couldn't, you know, I ran out of wood to put supports in, and then framed it up with some, or decked it up with some nice little cedar decking to go with the rest of the place. And it's a nice little curve. And I mean, it's only a foot and a half if you fall off the middle. And a couple of people have said, like, you're gonna do some railings on that, but like when you got a quad and you're pulling a trailer, nah. But what I do want to do is find a little troll doll at a yard sale, because you gotta have a little troll living under your bridge if you're gonna have a bridge in the forest. You gotta have a troll. Like, I'm surprised there hasn't been a riot already and people haven't come over here saying, "Where's your freaking troll?" So, that's the story of the bridge. I do apologize that there isn't more to show you, but I can say that the next video is either going to be me going 9-0 on either the potting shed greenhouse, or it's going to be me going 9-0 on Big Poppa. Either way, I'm a little more comfortable with the greenhouse. I'm pretty sure I've got that figured out how to do it. Running wires has never been something I've been particularly adept at or skilled at or even remotely comfortable with. So, but I have to do it because I want to get the family out on the water. And the boat's solid, the motor's purring, so it's all up to me now. Thank you very much, everybody. I do apologize, but I hope you're at least stoked that we're gonna do something cool, and feel better, Jay. I think that's what you meant. Feel better. So, talk to you super quick, because I love making these videos, and I don't want to not make videos just because I'm trying to figure stuff out. But like, do you really want to watch me work in an Illustrator? I can do it. I can show you that. If that's what you want. That's what you want. If that's what you want.